All right. So once again, I'll say welcome to the day 2 or session 2 of the business analysis mentorship program, which kicked off on Tuesday, the 24th of September 2025. And last session we discussed about the foundations of business analysis. We talked about the qualities a business analyst should possess. And then we also had our homework, which talked more about, or which was centered on the stakeholders, or finding out a real problem in our various organizations and who the stakeholders are, what the problem is, and defining one solution that will fix the problem. So that was the homework given to us. But today, we are going to now be discussing or talking more about the business analysis proper. Okay. And then, so we started by defining who a business or what business analysis is. And we said business analysis is the act of identifying a business problem that requires that affects the organization, right? But that gives value mostly. So we said we are going to first identify a problem. When we identify a problem, we'll have to spark up change. So we usually have some key terminologies that will help us understand better what our role as business analysts is. One is that we spark up change, okay, or we stimulate change in an organization. Second, we add value. Third, the value must be centered, it must align with the organizational goals. So whatever solutions you are trying to bring up, if it does not align with the organizational goal, then it is not worth doing. And fourth, it has to also put up or bring stakeholders together. All right. So there's a popular saying that if it is not worth the change, it is not worth doing. If it's not going to if it's not going to cause change, if it's not going to drive change in an organization or in an individual, because as a business analyst, you also support individuals, not just businesses, right? So if it's not going to drive change and create value, it is not worth doing. So we went ahead and we talked about a business analyst. Who then is a business analyst? A business analyst is one who understands typically enterprise problems and goals. You have to be clear that you understand what an enterprise problem is. Second, you also need to analyze the needs and solutions you're going to proffer to them. You need to understand it. Third, you need to also devise the strategies with which you're going to address that need that you have been able to identify. And then you must drive change and facilitate stakeholders collaboration. As we roll on in this program, we are going to be putting up our stakeholders in different matrix. We're going to use a matrix to classify our stakeholders and how we are going to be engaging with them. All right. Please, you can use your signs and emojis to show that you are following what I'm saying. Oh, Deborah is not on this call. She dropped out.
Yes, I think we have a network. I've also been logged out a couple of times. I think
You've
she's
been
back
pushed out
now.
of the meeting.
Yes, I had to log in twice, but it's okay. I see you're recording, so
Oh,
it's okay.
yes, I am. All right. So, can you still see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can.
Oh, perfect. Yes, good. All right then. Okay. So we've just talked about who a stakeholder is, or sorry, who a business analyst is, and we've talked about um, what we are expecting from the business analyst when he has identified these problems or has triggered up that need for change. The next we're going to discuss will be the structure of the Babok guide. I did mention to you on the last session that the Babok guide is like the Bible of the business analyst. So it is called Babok means the business analyst body of knowledge. So we are using the Babok version 3. The Babok guide is classified or is divided into tasks, which are organized in knowledge areas. Those 6 knowledge areas I mentioned to you, these are tasks that are expected of the business analyst to achieve. It also contains the knowledge. These knowledge areas are also collection of logically, but they are not sequential. Okay, logically related tasks. So, in other words, when you say planning and elicitation, business analysis, planning and elicitation, you can begin your planning and monitoring. Sorry, business analysis, planning and monitoring. You can begin your planning and you start also to gather requirements. Do you understand? They can happen concurrently, if that makes any sense to you. So knowledge areas we have are the business analysis, planning and monitoring. I'm going to repeat it. There are 6 of them: planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirements lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and then the last is the solution evaluation. Okay, so now let's understand how to group these tasks. Now each of them, for instance, the planning and monitoring, we need to understand the purpose of planning, description of planning, inputs. Inputs are those activities you are going to bring into the action of planning. What your own actions will be, those are the inputs. And then elements are the tools. Okay, are the tools. They're similar to the tools and the guidelines, the matrices you're going to be working with. The techniques, stakeholders involved in that particular knowledge area, and then the output. Do not worry, don't start memorizing this. We are going to be putting these into practice for each of the knowledge areas, so you will now understand it better. Okay, so these 8 items will be used on all of them. Do you get it? Thumbs up. All right, thank you. So that shows that you're following. So this session 2, we'll be talking about the key concepts now. At the end of this session, you should be able to describe the business analysis core concept models. We'll define key terms, describe requirements classification schema, discuss the concept of stakeholders, and discuss the requirements and design. These are the things we hope to achieve at the end of this session. The business analyst conceptual framework contains these. A conceptual framework that encompasses, it brings in what business analysis is and what it means to those performing the action. What does business analysis mean to you? That is what we're talking about. That's the conceptual framework. what it means to me as a business analyst. So to me, it means change. It means I want to effect change. It means if an enterprise is struggling with a certain thing, as Jemima mentioned, but she never mentioned the name of the company. All right. That her business or the company she's working with struggles with um maintaining communication with the clients because the CEO or the boss travels a lot. Okay, that is a need that has been identified. Chris Bora mentioned that the Chris Bora, can you please remind me of what you talked about? We can put it up if you can't. It's fine.
Low sales.
Okay, that's
Mm.
yes, her business is struggling with low sales. Very good. So in that case, it means that that is there's a need for change for that what we call business as usual. We don't want it to be business as usual. Every time you come, you have low sales. That's business as usual. So you want to find out what is the current state of the company now. They are having low sales. This has been recurrently happening for say 3 weeks or 3 months. Let's just put this is hypothetical now. So about 3 months, you've been having low sales. There is now a need to change, that narrative, to change that um, process of having low sales, regardless of what your actions are. Every business wants to make profit, isn't it? So when you're having low sales, that's not helpful for the business. Now you are thinking, you're forward thinking now. What will the future state of this business be, or this enterprise be? The future state is that you want to be able to make about, say, um, if you have your stock, you have just stocked up your inventory, you should make up to your desire is to make up to 70% of the sales at the end of a certain period of time. That's going to be your KPI there. So there's a need for change, right? There's a need as well to be addressed, and the solution as well needs to be brought into play. Then the stakeholders that will synchronize efforts in achieving this change or this need will have to also be described. The value you want to create or add to the business, and in what context. So in the context we are talking about here is in context of sales. That is where you're having challenge. In what context for the other business Jemima mentioned? It is in the context of stakeholder management. Okay, so that is where it is, stakeholder management. So we're going to address all these as we roll on. Requirements classification schema now. So see this as a pie. All right, each of these activities, they have a contribution towards the attainment of that or satisfaction of that need that has been raised. You have picked this need as a problem. Each of these actions, each of these tools, each of these requirements, we call them requirements. Each of them are like a piece in the entirety of the pie. So we have the business requirements. I know one or both of you have heard of business requirement documents, correct? BRD. A business entity can say, can you send me a BRD? It's a statement of, it's just like saying, can you send me a statement of the problem? So that is what it is. And we're going to present you templates which you can use, just plug and play, that will help to provide your stakeholders with a professional BRD. Okay, stakeholder requirements as well. You have to also put that into consideration You have to manage your stakeholder requirements. That is where you'll be performing the actions of elicitation. Some stakeholders will want you to inform them before you take some actions. Some stakeholders will just want to be there to be communicated. So the one that should be communicated, if you inform or if you make the person responsible for the action, you have faulted. So you need not to mismanage your stakeholders. And also the channels of communication with your stakeholders will be handled under stakeholder requirements. Solution requirements. That solution you want to profile has its own requirements. It has the things you need to do before you can attain that. If, for instance, now, in order to improve your sales, it means you have to get a software that will manage your inventory properly or adequately so that you do not continue to do it manually. Maybe your staffs have been stealing from you, you don't know. And that's why you think you're making low sales. Meanwhile, you're making losses. So now, in order to implement a solution, you want to say, I'm going to implement a software that can be a barcode scanner that can be tagging these inventories. And the moment you tag, it goes straight to the sheet or the document or the portal that you're managing your inventory on. So that's a requirement for that solution. If you do not implement that, what you're doing doesn't make any meaning. Does it make sense? All right. Thank you, Chidima. Jemima, are you following? All right. Very good. Transition requirements now. Transition requirements is what, when we talk about change requirements, every need or every problem you solve leads to it leads to change, right? It implements change. Every problem you have solved has led to change. Now, you need to be able to transition from the previous or what we call the business as usual or to the current state of the business to the future state. So you have to transition from that point, from each point to another. Business as usual, current states to be. So in business analysis, we call it the business as usual, the current state, and the to be. That's future states where you are looking at what you're looking at achieving. Because from the start of your business analysis activities, you have to inform the stakeholders of their expectations of you. You should let them know where you are taking them to. You are the driver. So the business analyst serves as the driver. You have to take them to a place where they will say, okay, yes, this aligns with our vision. Okay. So from the start, you will need to make sure that happens. Transition requirements. It's also a requirement. That is where we talk about change management. So you cannot exclude change management from business analysis. Okay. Stakeholders now. From the assignments you were given, now we mentioned stakeholders, who stakeholders are. Everybody or institution that has anything to do with a business analyst is a stakeholder. Okay? Or business analysis process is a stakeholder. Anybody, any institution, any enterprise that has anything to do with a business analysis process, whether the person is involved in it or whether the person is interested, the person might just be interested. Maybe the person has a vested interest in it, or the person happens to be funding the business. And at the end of 5 years, the individual is going to say, okay, I want to exit. So that person is also a stakeholder. If the person is also going to be impacted by the process of business analysis, the person is a stakeholder. Such as who? The clients, right? Also, internal. If the internal environment, which is the company, is going to interact with the business analysis process, the company, I mean, by company, I mean the employees. So that's internally. One way or the other, they are also stakeholders. Externally, those that interact also with the business analysis process are also stakeholders. A business entity or a company wants to introduce blockchain technology to help the consulting firm. They want to introduce it into the consulting firm to help in the process of accreditation or in the process of certification. But they want to introduce blockchain technology like this barcode people use. This barcode is a product of blockchain. We did sciences, binary, right? 0, 1, 0, and all that. So if you understand that aspect of binary, that is a unit of the smallest unit of a blockchain. That's why it's called blockchain. Blockchain technology. So one company wants to introduce it now into a consulting firm. Now, to do that, they cannot do it in isolation without having to involve the regulatory authorities like the EFCC or like the Nigerian the Nigerian what's it called again? Central Bank of Nigeria. These are the regulatory authorities, the regulatory bodies. So they are governments, right? They are external stakeholders that interact with the business analysis process. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to give you examples of all these stakeholders and how they apply in the business analysis process. Make sense? Right. Thank you. Now, stakeholder rules. Stakeholder rules. What are the stakeholder rules we are talking about here now? The stakeholder rules, first is the business analysts. You as a business analyst, you have a role in this. The customer or client has a role to play. The domain subject matter expert, like the blockchain technology, if you have somebody who is skilled at developing blockchain technology, that is the domain subject matter expert. It's called DSM. So sometimes it could be abbreviated as the SME, the domain SME. That's how you can see it in some instances. And then the end users. Who are the end users in this blockchain technology? Who are the end users? The business itself, isn't it? Yes, these are the end users. So because once the software is being developed, the business will now implement it and utilize it for the management of their consulting firm. So they are the end users. Implementation subject matter experts are the IT guys in that particular home. Let me make it easier. In a hospital that wants to introduce um say effective triage system, right? They want to introduce an effective triage system. This hospital, Palmer's, want to introduce a process that will make their triage faster. Now they have called the software. Who are the end users of this? The nurses are the emergency unit. The nurses that work, or the nurses and doctors that work in the outpatients department, they are the end users of these tools. Who are the ones that did or that developed the software, but they are the ones implementing it. So they are called implementation SMEs, implementation subject matter experts. Then the next are the operational support, those that you can call in order to mitigate one challenge or the other. If there is, maybe let's say there's a firm, an IT firm that the company has contracted, when they are not, when there's a downtime in the system, you call them, they will quickly help to overhaul that and then bring back the network. All right. They are part of the stakeholders. The project manager, for every project, should have a project manager if it must be effective. Sometimes the business analyst will become both the BA and the PM. So sometimes they use the roles interchangeably. The business analyst is not superior to the project manager. The project manager is not superior to the business analyst. Rather, they complement each other roles. I've seen where people start to argue, oh, the BA is superior or the PM. No, they complement um, each expert have their own jurisdiction or the scope of their practice. But both of them can work interchangeably because they understand the modalities of their practice. So you can have a role, maybe when you are done with this program, you can be able to get a job and you see project manager role with experience in requirements gathering and one, you understand, you might have it as that requirements, elicitation and collaboration, planning and monitoring. You have all those listed, but it's a project manager role. You can also have um, you can also have a business analyst adverts there, and they will also include PM roles. So just for you to understand and know that they could do that. All right. The regulator, being the government, they're also part of the stakeholders. The sponsor, usually, the sponsor could be the person who brings the money. So if it's a CEO or you have an investor that is bringing the money, that is the sponsor of the project or the business analysis um, process. Then we also have suppliers. We have suppliers, those that will supply the resources, the tools, okay, which you're going to be working with. And we have also the testers. So these are different stakeholders in the business analysis process. Requirements versus design. That's the next now. Requirements versus design. What does it mean? Now, for requirements, it is a set of conditions that must be fulfilled or that must be met as given by the stakeholders. That is why you gather requirements. I'm going to also share with you a tool that we'll use to gather requirements. Okay, when you have been asked to perform, okay, you're going to be the one to manage a certain project. A company has told you, Chris Bora has invited you as a business analyst to come and help up their sales. Okay, now you need to go gather requirements from Chris Bora's stakeholders, those who have interests or who need to be informed about this. You need to go and understand what their expectations are as regards to that particular problem that has been identified. So that is requirement. Now, what about the design? The design is the layout of a solution that needs the solution to meet the stakeholders' requirements. How are you going to design it? How are you going to attain it? That is the design. How will it be done? So there are tools for that. There are matrices for that. There are templates for that. All right. And all these are not cast on stone. You can always modify them to suit your need. Don't forget, it's all about value creation. It's all about identifying change. Okay. And the change has to meet the stakeholders' expectation. Still on requirements, an example, view 6 months sales data for Chris Bora across multiple organizational units in a single view, because Chris Bora is a multipreneurial organization. So you as a business analyst has met with the CEO of Chris Bora Ventures, and she has said that she would like to be able to view 6 months of her sales data across multiple units, both the fashion, the healthcare. She wants to view all of them. She wants to find the parts of the kiddies, the one for ladies, the one for gents, different. She wants to be able to view 6 months in a single view. So that is her requirement. She's a stakeholder. All right. So what will you do as a business analyst now? You now start thinking, should I now create a platform, or should I create a dashboard that is going to help fulfill this requirement? Does it make sense, please? If it does make sense, please, can you put a thumbs up there? Let me see it. All right. So we are following. Thank you. Now, I have a question. Thank you, Jemima. Thank you also. I have a question. There's a question right in front of the screen. A capability needed by a stakeholder to achieve an objective is also called A, strategy, B, requirement, C, solution, D, process. This is a standard question that can come up in the certification exam. So what is a capability that is needed by a stakeholder to achieve an objective? You have an objective to achieve. Okay? There is something you need, a capability, there's something you need to have. What is it? Is it a strategy? Is it a requirement? Is it a solution? Or is it a process? So the answer is requirements. Okay? You need requirements. You need to gather your requirements to achieve an objective. Okay? Does it make sense? Question number 2. All of the following are knowledge areas except 1, solution evaluation, B, requirements planning and monitoring, C, requirements life cycle management, D, strategy analysis. Which one is not? You have the okay, so you can send your responses on the chat. Let's see. Can you see this? So please let me just have your responses and we'll analyze this. All of the following are knowledge areas, except remember the 6 knowledge areas we talked about. So we said we have requirement, we have the first one to be what? BA planning and monitoring, correct? Yeah. Requirements planning and monitoring. Okay, very good. So you see, the first one is supposed to be business analysis planning and monitoring, not requirements planning and monitoring, which shows that you are following. Thank you so much. So they brought this to confuse you. This is a typical BA question that you can be given. All right, thank you for that. I think the network glitch is affecting my system. Just hold on, please. Let me just quickly go back to this and troubleshoot it. All right, so far, do you have any question? Any questions so far? None. Okay. If far, I would need us to address the homework which we are given. If it's okay by you, we'll just quickly address the homework. Now, I'm trying to get it open. So, let me in. Can you see my screen? I'm presenting the simple stakeholder register template. A simple stakeholder register. So let us say you are planning you're planning an event now. You want to have a high net worth event for individuals. Okay? You want to have a high net worth event for the real estate industry. Okay? Now you have invited people to participate in it, but before then, you need to plan, isn't it? Because the first action as a business analyst is to plan, and you also monitor. So now the name of a stakeholder that is going to be involved in this is the CEO, right? You can unmute and talk, please. We're just trying to have an exercise. So the first we can have is the CEO, and then aside from the CEO, who else do you think should be a stakeholder in this? We are trying to plan an event for the high net worth individuals in, let's say, a luxury furniture in Abuja. Okay. So who is going to be the stakeholder here? One, we have the CEO. Who else? The name of the person. We're going to put the name of the person. So here we have, let me use Jemima for instance. Okay. Jemima. And then the next, what is Jemima's role here? We can put her as, she's a CEO. Okay. What is her interest? Her interest here is to make what? To make sales. Huh? And
Okay.
what else? Value. Right? Sales and value. Okay. And then what level of influence does she have on the company? What level? She has a very high level of influence. So some people might have high level of influence, some might have low level of influence. For those that have high level of influence, you have to always get them involved. For those that have low level of influence, you need to get them informed. Just being informed is more than enough. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Are we sure we are following? We're trying to, this is a stakeholder register. And what does the stakeholder register help us to do? It helps us to understand the stakeholders we are managing. I'll give you a classical example. We have a company or a business called John Harbour Ventures. John Harbour Ventures is involved in healthcare logistics, also involved in managing patients who have debilitating injuries, ulcers, wounds that are very stubborn to heal. Now, if you want to include the stakeholders of that John Harbour Ventures in this register, it will mean you have to include also the government. It will mean you have to also include the sanitation agency. Like, you cannot manage a hospital without the sanitation agencies, right? In Port Harcourt, I don't know what you call them, but in Lagos, they are called LOMA. Okay, they are called LOMA. LOMA is the agency in Lagos that is charged with the responsibility of keeping the states clean and tidy. They also manage waste that are being generated in companies or hospitals, and they give it different color coding. So different bins, waste bin, have its own color depending on the kind of waste that enters into it. So for blood and blood products, they have their own. They can put them in the red bag or the yellow bag. Okay, contaminated wastes. Now, these are stakeholders as well. So you can put here LOMA, because you are also going to be generating wastes at the event. Are you going to generate waste? No. For luxury furniture, we are going to meet with those. Maybe we could invite also other luxury brands, competitors. We could invite the manufacturers of the wood. Manufacturers, what is their role here? They are the ones that manufacture. Okay, their role is wood production, all right? Production, their stakeholders. What's their interest? Their interest is to make sales, and grow. They want to also grow as a company, right? What is their influence? Their influence is high here, because without the manufacturers, the CEO will not have products, if that is the particular brand they are dealing with, right? They won't have products to sell. Who else? The clients now. The clients, what are the rules? They are the ones purchasing, right? They are the buyers. Or let me put their role as the paying for services. Okay? What's their interest here? Their interest is to be satisfied, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's their influence? High, right?
Very high, yeah.
Because without them, they are king. They said customer is what? King.
Yeah.
Yes. Who else is involved in this? So,
Logistics.
yeah,
Logistics
logistics, exactly.
company.
Suppliers, we'll get there. What is their stake or their roles here? Supply goods. Okay, I will not put as suppliers, sorry. Let me put it as vendors, okay? What do they do? Supply goods and services. What are their interests here? For the vendors, they want to make sales, right?
Yeah.
And also they want to grow. What's their influence here?
High.
High. You talked about logistic companies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Logistic companies. What's their role? They help in the
Conveying the
operations, isn't it?
products. Yes. Conveying goods and services to end users. Yeah.
Yeah, operations. Sorry, operations. What else do they do? Excuse me. Transportation.
Yeah.
Transportation. They also help in warehousing, right? Warehousing. What's their interest here? High. Okay. And then what's their influence here? Sorry, apologies, I've mixed it. So what's their interest? Their interest is in also want to
So
make sales and build biz relationships. Okay. What's their influence, level of influence? High. What if we have let me put a very tricky one here. We have the local um urchins, or local, what they call them again, local street guys. I'm looking for a better name to. Okay, let me put it as the local men in the community. The community. What are their roles here? What's their role? Mostly, they are there to make sure that they have their own role is just to disrupt to disrupt activities. Huh? If
yeah.
their needs are not met, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's their interest? Their interest is
No.
to
To make profits. To
to
make
make
profit. To
money,
make money. Yeah.
mm, from the owners, right?
Yeah.
Influence. What influence do they exercise there?
Their influence depends. If you're lucky, they will not influence.
Their influence
I'll say
is low.
it's low.
Yes, their influence in the projects we are talking about is low, but as low as it is, it has an impact. So there is
Yes.
another one we can have. If we have low influence, but their impact is high. Low influence and high impact. So you see these people, you don't ignore them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that is it. If you want to go and perform your business analysis role successfully, you see these people that have low interest or low influence, you might say their impact on the business or on the project might be high. So this is the very classical reason why you have to have a stakeholder register in order to enable you plan how to manage your stakeholders effectively. If a business analyst now, if I want to reach out to Jemima to seek this project, okay, or for this contract to come to me, I'll write to her and tell her I will have to consider all these stakeholders here and how to manage their interests so that none of them will be lost, and how to also not to mismanage their influence. Because if I have to classify this logistic company as low influence, what do you think is going to happen? What impact do you think will happen to the project? It's going to be delayed because transportation will be delayed, or maybe the operations, you will now have to start racking your brain. Who can help us deliver this? You start looking for other third-party vendors, right? That can help you transport. This is now plan B, which was not supposed to be if we had a very effective stakeholder management or stakeholder register. Maybe the logistic company that had promised us we were going to a warehouse with them, they said they don't have electricity there. So putting us in a very tight corner. Do you understand? The local men now, who were also supposed to have met days before initiating the project, we did not meet them. Now they have come down to disrupt our activities. Or the employees themselves that will be delivering the project, we are supposed to have paid them, given them accommodation, and made sure that they are okay where they are staying. Because once they are okay, they will be giving you their best, isn't it? But now you didn't make good arrangement for them. They were staying outside in the cold, and in the morning they will have to start their job. Do you think they will be productive the next morning? No. So which means you did not perform a proper stakeholder management. That project or that business analysis process is going to be suffering. So does it make a lot of sense now? Perfecto. Thank you for that response. Thank you, Jemima, as well. All right. So far, so do you have any question? So this is a simple, excuse me, stakeholder register. Now, we are going to use the same project. Yes, Jemima, please ask.
So sorry. The network has been terrible over here, but I'm trying to catch up. My question is about the last line. That's the local men in the community. Yes, I don't know if I can get more explanation on that. Knowing fully that yes, they have low influence here, as indicated, and also high impact. At the same time, some might even have high impacts as well. So that's why I want to get more explanation to know how I can place it, because I feel some might really have both a positive and negative impact, which we can as well say a low and high influence. Sorry, influence, not impact. Influence in
All right.
your business dealing. So I don't know if you would like to explain more for me.
Yes, very good question, Jemima. So, for the local men in the community, it depends on the scope of the project. For this particular one now, we're having it's an event, right? This is an event. Did I state it there? I said it's going to be an event for the luxury for individuals in the luxury, high net worth individuals in the luxury and furniture business, right? Now we're having an event to bring them all together, and then the stakeholders here, we are considering the manufacturers, the clients. Manufacturers will have to give you their samples, isn't it? The clients themselves that will be paying, you can invite the clients to come and have a feel of what it's going to be like, to have a viewing. The vendors can have a vendor stand, right? The logistic companies, you have them already prepared that, okay, we are going to be warehousing a certain volume of goods at your facility, okay? The local men around, from the security around the terrain to the local men, you have to inform them that, look, at so and so project is likely to kick off in so time. So at this time, they have low influence, but their impact is high. When the project starts properly, their impact, their influence can go from being low influence to high influence, because at that time is now execution. That is why the business analysis process has is in phases. That's what we call the body of knowledge. These are places, things we need to know. So now, planning and monitoring stage. At the planning and monitoring stage, which is where we are now, as I'm speaking with you, that is where we are in the process in this week one. Next week, we'll be dealing with elicitation and collaboration. Okay. So where we are now in the process is planning and monitoring. So we are trying to say, okay, these are the people that will be involved in it as stakeholders. So you have to keep these people informed. All right, you inform them, you give them tips in order for them to be cool. They will provide even security. They will ensure that everything goes on fine. Now, in the proper execution or the solution management now, then you see them in action. That's time their influence will now go from low to high. Because sometimes if you have to work extra hours into the night to deliver, these are the men that will provide you with security, isn't it? So their influence will now be high, not low anymore. So now, in order to buttress this stakeholder registers, I would need to make sure that you understand that we need to be doing it often. You need to be updating your register. Some stakeholders, when the project started, they had high influence. Mid projects, their influence had changed to low influence, and those that were low can become high. So this is a very valid question you asked, and I like that you brought it forward. Because the stakeholder register has to be updated from time to time so that it aligns with the value and the vision of the company, the value you want to create, the vision of the company. That's where you're dealing with the scope of the project. You do not derail, because if you derail and do what is on your own mind, the stakeholders will not be satisfied at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, work done is zero. Got it? Have I answered your question?
Yeah.
I didn't get
Thank
that.
you.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Any more? Yes. All right. Thank you. Any more questions? No. Okay. If no more questions, now I will need you from that assignment you were given. You know, you've listed the stakeholders, and I see that one of you mentioned both the internal and external stakeholders, right? Okay. So you will need to classify your stakeholders using this register. Okay. And you're going to assign them roles, their interests, and influence as well. This way, we are going to be taking the process from stage to stage so that everything is going to synchronize and align. At the end of the day, we'll see if we're able to handle what the issue was effectively. Okay? But before we do that as well, I would want us to quickly tackle the assignment. So I'll just share that. Let me close this. Can you still see my screen? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So I'm now going to share. Okay, I'm not going to share this, but what I'm going to do, I'll just pick some points from there. I'll pick some points that we've identified. Okay, so we have one of them to be the first scenario. Scenario one, who is involved? Okay, and I have here the founder and the CEO, the business development strategist, the clients, both existing and prospective, and the rest of the team. What is the problem? Do you mind if I share it? I mean, can I present it so that we'll all see it and then tackle it together? Because it's that's what the program is about. Okay, very good. Jamama, is it okay by you?
Okay, sorry, I didn't get the full what you said completely.
Yeah, I was asking, can I present this task? The essence of it is, yes, for it to be presented and let everybody benefit from it. Okay. So I'm just going to share this.
Oh yeah, sure, yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so we can see this. So the name of the company wasn't mentioned. Let's say it's called business or company right? And then who is involved? The founder and CEO, business development strategist, the client, both existing and prospective, and the rest of the team. What is the problem? The CEO is frequently away at sea, so the business suffers from a lack of consistent leadership presence. Clients sometimes feel abandoned and assume he has lost interest in the business. As a result, we have lost several clients and opportunities. That is it. So now we are going to highlight the problem. As a result, we have lost, so there is a loss of several clients and opportunities. That's the problem, right? Statement of problem. So one idea to solve this. In order of preference, which of these ideas, these four presented, do you think are, let me see if I can number this. Which of these do you think is the most likely solution? Use alphabets. Okay. So which of these do you think? The first one is build a capable and empowered team that can run operations smoothly in his absence. Build a capable and empowered team that can run operations in his absence. Okay. Invest in training and delegation systems so decision making does not stall when he is away. So when you build capable and empowered team, as part of the approach, business analysis approach, you're going to also train, isn't it, and delegate. So let's take this out. I hope you're following what I'm doing. Because this invest in training and delegation systems will be under this building a capable and empowered team. When you to make your team capable and empowered, it means you're going to train as well, right? And then you'll be able to delegate roles and responsibilities. So we can put this as an item under it so we don't lose out. Establish clear communication channels with clients, regular updates, newsletters, and assigning relationship managers. When you build a capable and empowered team, your team will be, and when you have delegated roles and responsibilities to them, they will be able to know, okay, this is where my role is. My role is to establish a good communication channel between my clients, correct? So we are going to put this also as an item under this. And then introduce technology-based solutions like CRMs and automated client updates so the business feels alive even when the boss isn't physically present. That is correct. Now, this one also can go under this. So now, the major idea is to build a capable and empowered team that can run operations smoothly in his absence. Are you with me, Jemima? Hello, Jemima, are you still there? I've lost both of you. So sorry, I don't know what the issue is. I can see you are both struggling to join the meeting. The network seems unstable. Hi. I can see you're struggling to join, right? Okay. Hi, Jemima, you're back?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I can see you're struggling to join. I don't know what's happening.
Yes, the network is terrible over here.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. We'll just continue because it's recorded and then Deborah can join. So we've just been able to streamline all the solutions you have mentioned. We've grouped them into one broad umbrella, which is to build a capable and empowered team that can run operations smoothly in the CEO's absence. Now, what are those items? To invest in training. So those solutions will be to invest in training and delegation systems so decision making does not stall when he is away. Also, to establish clear communication channels with clients, conducting regular updates Newsletters should be sent in emails and through other viable means, or assigning relationship managers. Also, we're going to introduce technology-based solutions like CRMs and automated client updates. So the business feels alive, even when the boss isn't physically present. This is really good. So that's for scenario one. And for the second scenario, we also have who is involved, the stakeholders. You mentioned the business development strategist, the target audience, the team. So target audience, I suppose that should be the end users, right? End users or the clients. Am I right? Okay, if you can hear me, I'm just trying to um, understand if what you meant by target audience is the end user or client. Okay, yes, okay, thank you. So the team supporting the event, okay, and also the broader community of potential clients and partners. What is the problem? An information session was supposed to be conducted but failed to reach the target audience. Now, the target audience, the main issues were poor outreach strategy and limited communication channels, wrong timing that clashed with the audience priorities. Okay, so we put it as timing that clashed with the client's priorities. Okay, relying on close circles, family and friends whose visions and interests don't align with the event's purpose. Very good. Now, one idea to resolve it: design a more structured outreach strategy, making use of digital marketing, targeted ads, and community platforms. Collaborate with partners and influencers whose audience aligns with the session. Okay, okay. Plan events. So I'll say that all these can come under designing a more structured outreach strategy, because collaborating with partners and influencers is a strategy. Planning the events with better timing and audience research, ensuring availability and interests is also a strategy. Targeted ads is a strategy. Now, I'm going to put this like this. And then the third one, build a mailing list, is also a strategy, or registration system. So that is it. It has been analyzed. So from here, you are now going to include your stakeholder register. Okay? We are going to build a stakeholder register for this. So next, build task, build a stakeholder register for this need, for these needs. There are two of them. All right. The next you're going to do is to build a stakeholder register for these needs, okay, and submit in our next meeting. All right. Do you have any questions so far? Hi, Deborah.
Yeah.
Yes, so we just finished analyzing this. I see you're struggling also to join. So sorry about that. I don't know what the issue is. I think maybe it's the network,
Uh,
but mine is stable. I've not struggled with it all through up until now. No questions. All right. So I highlighted the modifications. I was able to rearrange the task given, the one Jemima did. So from there, excuse me, you can replay the video later on and then you understand better. Not just to bore you with repetitions. We've been able to align them properly as one idea to resolve it. Under the idea, we have actions we need to take to be able to provide a solution to the identified problem. Don't forget that I mentioned in our class the last class we had, that a need, that's the business analysis need, could either be a problem that needs to be solved or an opportunity for growth. So need can either be two ways. It's either a problem that a company or enterprise is facing, or there is an opportunity that has come for the business to grow, or an opportunity for expansion, or an opportunity for integrating new ways of doing business. That is also a need. Okay. So now for these particular needs we've identified, we have structured our ideas on how to solve them. They are listed there. Now, Jemima is now going to work on this using the stakeholder register. Today we did BA planning and monitoring. And one of the tools in planning is to prepare a stakeholder register to be able to understand stakeholder needs and know how to classify them based on their role, their names, their roles, their level of their interest, and their levels of what influence or influence. Yeah. Okay. So now, this one is for Jemima. We'll use the rest of the few minutes to treat the one that was given to you. Okay, so that you will also do the same. So I'm just going to quickly share that. So I would advise that when we're preparing our documents or the task that has been given to you, please use a consistent document type. I've been struggling to open this one. I don't know the format you used or the document type you used, but each time I open it, it comes up as something else, as forms, not the Google document. All right, I have it open now. Can we see my screen?
yes.
Perfecto. Thank you. All right. So here, this one is the one from Deborah. Find one real problem at your current business. Write down who is involved, what is the problem, and one idea to solve it. Now, Chris Bora Ventures is the business. Chris Bora is a multipreneurial business that is into okay. Hold on, please. Or that deals business that deals on Sales and procurement of male, female, and kiddies fashion items, clothes, shoes, bags, accessories. Okay, bags and accessories. Also hair, wigs and jewelries, and also fabrics. Okay. You avoided the healthcare aspect of it, huh?
Not officially launched that yet. Still something we're
Okay, so
trying to introduce. Yes.
perfect. Okay. So now the stakeholders who are involved, primary stakeholders. So I want us to, for the sake of simplicity, and we don't want to make it complex yet, can I merge all stakeholders together?
Okay.
Yes, let's merge them together so that we'll have a consistent flow. Mhm. Okay. Okay, so customers and the clients, individuals who purchase fashion items or use procurement services, suppliers, you have both local and international vendors who provide the fashion products. Okay. Um, Logistic companies are the partners that deliver the goods to the customers. Okay, also involved in transportation and all that. Okay. Do you warehouse?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So partners that deliver, okay, that's warehouse and deliver goods to the customers. Now, the CEO as a business owner. So I'm just going to put here CEO and business owner. Because sometimes I like the way you partitioned it. Sometimes the business owner doesn't is not the CEO. The potential online audience. Okay. The online audience. I suppose this should also fall under your customers. They are your potential customers too, right?
Yeah.
Actual. So I'm going to put this as actual and prospective individuals who purchase fashion items. Okay, let's put it that way. So I'm going to put here also both online, that's the e-marketing, and then in person. Huh? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The staff you may engage in the future. Okay. So these are the employees of the business. All right. Now, when you want to address business problems like this, there's the business is a function of either the the people, that's your employees, or the process. The process has to do with the ways or the business analysis process, or the ways with which you achieve whatever business need it is. And then the third is the policy. So there are three items that could be faulty when there is a business need identified. There has to be one of these that is a problem. One or one, more, or all of them. So it's either there's a problem with the people, there's a problem with the process, or there's a problem with the policy, or there's a problem with all three of them or two of them. Something has to be wrong. So when you see it or you identify it as that, then it will be easier for the solutions to come up. Okay, from this one now, from what you have presented, sales plummeting, your sales are plummeting, that's they're going down, decrease in sales. Where is that problem? Is it from the people? Is it from the process or the policy, or even all three? We'll find out as we roll on this program. Okay. Second problem identified. What is the issue? The business. The business is experiencing low sales and minimal service uptake, especially in procurement, which affects cash flow and brand visibility. Okay. Okay. So from what I can see here, the first one, the issue there you identified, which wasn't so clear, I believe it is the need for growth or diversification, right? Or expansion. Let me put it that way: need for growth or expansion. Correct? Because you've not employed, you don't have employees. That's one. So that comes under expansion, because it's as you're growing that you'll be getting people on board. As you're growing, you'll be diversifying in other areas which you find lucrative. I believe you've already addressed that aspect, knowing where the need or where there is a use case for that particular service or product you're bringing on board. Okay, so you've done your market analysis and you have come up with this. So now this is the problem for problem number one. Okay, I want to make it bolder: the need for growth or expansion. And expansion. Then the second problem here, or the second issue identified, is the low sales and minimal service uptake, especially in procurement, which affects cash flow and brand visibility. Contributing factors may include lack of structured marketing, too many product categories, and low customer awareness. Very good. Okay, so now what do we need to do for this? One idea to solve the problem. You mentioned 5 ideas. We are going to put all these in one. Okay. Focused marketing and restructuring. Okay. Narrow the business scope to procurement services. That is focusing on marketing and restructuring. Because if you want to narrow it, you're putting your focus into one direction. It's a unilateral direction. Okay, so you're going to narrow the business scope to procurement services as your core strength. Okay, working on your strength. Launch a targeted advising campaign on social media. My apologies. Launch a targeted advertising campaign on social media, WhatsApp Business, Instagram, Facebook, highlighting procurement as the main value proposition. That's very good. Your main MVP is social media marketing. So that should come under this focused marketing and restructuring. So we put it here as one, as the second item, but still under the main umbrella. This is the main umbrella, okay? I hope you're following me what I'm doing.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Clearly positioning. So you will clearly position Chris Bora Ventures as a reliable procurement and sourcing brand, not just another fashion seller. Okay. So that your clients that have been purchasing from you in the past will not see it as, oh, this is just a regular what's it called, fashion seller online. You want to stand out. So what, in that case, you want to create what we call a USP, unique selling proposition. Okay, or unique, what you call your UVP as well, unique value proposition. So that is what it is. This also comes under the first one, which is the focus marketing and restructuring. Restructuring is a broad word. So clearly positioning Chris Bora as a reliable procurement and sourcing brand, not just as a fashion. I like this. Okay. And then the next one is build trust through testimonials, showcasing successful procurement and offering guarantees. All right. It's part of the restructuring. So when you do that, when you attain these, you have just focused, you have just revamped your marketing and you have restructured. So this one will be tackled and then this problem will disappear. You can always review your problem. That is where we talk about solution evaluation when we progress in the program. At the end of it, after you have implemented your solutions, these are solutions you're bringing up. After you've implemented them, you will now realize that, oh, I have actually attained a lot. Let me see if it aligns with the vision of Chris Bora. Okay? If it aligns with the vision of Chris Bora Ventures. Again, I hope you're also going to consider that it doesn't exceed the scope of the problem. Every problem or every need has a scope. It has the length and breadth. Let me put it in that way, which you should not exceed. By the time you exceed that, you have just you've compounded it, and you have to probably start bringing in new solutions to achieve that particular need. So we're going to keep it simple at this stage, and we'll channel our efforts in fixing these. And at the end of it, we are hopeful that it should yield results. So I think we've been able to address the two. Any questions so far? Any contributions to it? Like I said, I am not teaching. It should be a discussion. We're addressing it together, and it's a mentorship program. So it's expected that communication will be two ways. You ask for clarity, you bring in suggestions, we rub minds, and anything that needs to be fine-tuned, we'll put it better, and then we'll grow from there. All right. So do you have any questions, any contributions to this?
No, I don't. Think
But
we've
how
done
do you
well
feel
to
about,
restructure this.
okay, how do you feel about
I think
the
it's
way
better
we've
now.
just restructured this? It looks better. Okay, that's fine. So what you're expected to do next, expectations. So your task.
I think it's much better.
All right. So let's see. Your task for the next class, before the next class, sorry. Don't forget that when you participate in this task as well, they add up to your final scoring and even your certification. So performance during the task and also the participation in the classes, you should attain at least 70% of the your presence in class, and also interact. So that all adds up to the scoring rubric, which I discussed with you earlier on. So that is it. So your next task will be to prepare a stakeholders register. So you've identified the needs, right? These needs have stakeholders. Don't forget, we said the stakeholders are those who are involved in these needs, in the business needs, or are those who have vested interests or who have interests in the business, or are those who should be informed one way or the other, whether internal or externally, they have a relationship with the business. So these are stakeholders directly. These people should have they have a stake in this particular need we are trying to address. Okay, don't forget. So when you are registering your stakeholders, when you're putting them here, please have that in mind. Okay, so that's it. Questions, please. That's the only way I will know that you are following. Any questions so far? So I'll take it that we have been able to achieve today what we dealt with. Let me just make a quick recap of it. I'm just trying to open up what we did. Sorry, hold on. What am I sharing? Okay. So I just want you to be seeing the same thing I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. So today, what we discussed, let's see if we have been able to address them. We introduced business analysis today, and we're able to also talk about the business analysis key concepts. Okay. The business analysis planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirement analysis and design definitions, solutions evaluation. I mentioned to you that all these make up what we call the BABOK, the requirements, right? What we call the knowledge areas, these 6 knowledge areas, the BABOK knowledge areas, correct? 6 of them: planning and monitoring, right? Elicitation and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management, strategy analysis, solutions evaluation, requirements analysis and design definition. These are the 6. So we do not miss out anyone. I also mentioned to you that they don't have to be sequential, but they are interconnected. You can start with elicitation and collaboration. Maybe you have started gathering you have a network of stakeholders already. Now you need to put their requirements, stakeholder requirements. Remember, I mentioned to you the stakeholder requirements. You need to put all the stakeholder requirements in a template or in a particular dashboard or a sheet. Now, from there, you can start off with your planning and monitoring. When you start planning, that's where you talk about the stakeholders, assigning them their roles, where we do the stakeholder traceability matrix. We are going to discuss all those later on, okay? But for now, you need to know the 6 knowledge areas. So please, you're going to memorize the knowledge areas and come back next week on Tuesday. I have sent you already a link. If you check your email, you will find a link there to join the class. So as part of what you're going to do, you're going to be mentioning the 6 knowledge areas of the BABOK. Okay? And then today as well, we dealt with a business analyst, who a business analyst is. Just to reiterate that the business analysis itself is a practice of enabling change, okay? In an enterprise, in an organization, you must be able to enable change. Now, how do you do that? You have to first define the needs. So need definition. Like what we have just done with the tasks you were given, we've defined what your needs are. We made it clear. So you need to know exactly what your needs are, and then recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders. That is just a simple definition for business analysis. Now, if you go back to what we have just treated in the task we were given, you were able to identify needs. You defined your needs. They were so clear, and you also recommended solutions that will deliver value to who? The CEO and other stakeholders involved in this particular business enterprise. The clients, the staff, that's the employees, even the vendors, they're going to also benefit from a better company. If your company or business is better, your vendors will also enjoy it, isn't it? So that is how it is, okay? Business analysis is a practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholders, okay? That is it. And we went ahead to talk about the knowledge areas. Have told you about them just briefly, but the one we dealt on mostly today was the planning and monitoring. Okay, we talked about the key concepts, which is the business analysis core concept model. We also talked about how to describe the requirements classification schema, where I showed you like the pieces from a pie, all of them make up this whole sum. Okay, the requirements, and we did mention to you that you have the business analysis, the business requirements, the stakeholder requirements, the solution requirements, and the transition requirements. I told you that the business analysis requirement is that need itself. You have been asked to produce a document of your requirement to satisfy that particular need. That document is called the business requirements document. Oftentimes, you'll be asked to produce that, and one of you said you have heard of it. So that's the BRD in short. Now, we also have the stakeholder requirements. Stakeholder requirements, one of each, and one of it is the stakeholder register, which we have dealt with. The stakeholder register groups your stakeholders, as the name implies, register, classifies them under categories, their names, and the roles they play, also the level of influence they have, okay, and their interest in the business as well, okay. Then solution requirements, we are going to discuss solution requirements further. And then transition requirements. Transition requirement talks about change, how you manage change, how you transition from the business as usual or what you have been doing in the past, the current situation of the business, and to be. To be is the future state of the business, where you see it, that's forecasting, where you see the business in time to come. Let's say in the next 5 years, or in the next 7 years or 10 years, as the case may be. Okay. And then we talked about the stakeholders, that everybody or any institution that has anything at all to do with the business analysts or to do with the business analysis process, whether be it being involved, being interested, being impacted, whether positively or negatively, or an internal person or external organization or individual, that person or entity is a stakeholder. And then the stakeholder roles, I did mention them to you. The roles of stakeholders cannot be exhausted. Okay, there are so many of them, but for the purpose of business analysis, we want to keep it this way. The business analyst is a stakeholder, the customer, the domain subject matter expert, the end user, implementation subject matter expert, operational support staff, that's the operational support team, the project management team, or um, the project manager, sorry, the regulator, being the government or the regulatory authorities, the sponsor or the financier of the project, the suppliers, and the testers. Excuse me, these are all stakeholders. Okay, we talked about requirements and then design. That the requirement is a set of conditions that must be fulfilled as given by the stakeholders, and then the layout is the design, how you are going to achieve it. Okay, so the set of conditions that you must fulfill, those are the requirements, as the name implies. Then the tools are the templates, the matrices you're going to use, the graphs, those are the design. Okay. And then that's basically it. Now we made an example of it. I used Chris Bora, if you remember. And then that's basically it. We answered questions and the class ends. So we've just had a quick recap. Any question? Final check-ins? In the absence of any question, we'll meet again on Tuesday, the 30th of September 2025 at 7 p.m. You have the link already sent to your emails. Please do well to come, and then we'll continue. Do take care and have a blessed weekend. Thank you.